Hello everyone and welcome to TGP2. I am your commentator here once again. And we are here in TGP2. So let's go straight into the championship order where we have Lewis Craig, who is leading the championship by some distance of about 14 points. No, 14 points. More than that. To Luca from CJ from Chris. Good fight here for P2. So yeah, Luca, CJ, Chris, and Wace all fighting for P2. Even the championship, if Lewis has just one DNF and one of them wins, it's all back into game. In constructors, Aston Martin are leading by 7 points, if I've done my maths right, from Williams, and then Ferrari, and then Haas, Sauber, and Red Bull all fighting for 4th place, very close between them, and McLaren and Alpine are fighting for 8th. Right, let's go straight into the game then, because they are already loading in. We've still got a bit of time. Let's quickly go to the title odds. We've got week 3 title odds, where Lewis Craig and CJ tied on odds to win the championship, 2-1, and Luca with a 3-1, Alistair 4-1, Chris Johnson 5-1, Wace with a 6-1, Yuri 8-1, Deck 10-1, Daniel Price 12-1, Jack Pearson 15-1, and Jack Craig with a 25-1. So we've got, it is pouring down with rain, which I'm sure the drivers do not want to see going into this race. Well, some of them might, but yeah. Rain. So let me get this on full screen preview for myself. There we go. So here we go then. Who are we going to go on board with? Let's go on board with our title leader, who is Lewis Craig. Here we go then. Into turn 1. Clip the inside apex. Missed it there. Meant to clip the inside apex, outside apex on turn 2 as well. You meant to floor it through here, but with it being so wet, you're going to have to lift off a lot. Into turn 4. Run the apex through the left and swing it to the right. Oh, that's very out of shape from Lewis. Into turn 6, heavy braking. Go onto the curb on the right. Oh, that was so out of shape there. Into 8, and then 9 going up the hill. Into, I think this is turn 11. I'm going to say it's turn 11. Fast right-hander. Obviously in the wet, you can't take it that quickly. But at the moment, decent lap from Lewis, despite it being quite messy. End of sector 2, entering sector 3. Run wide through this really slow corner, especially in the wet, as Lewis, again, all out of shape. He's drifting through the corners here. As we go through the final 2 corners, I see it's had a really weird flick. I think there's a bit of lag going on. Into the final corner then. And who is it going to be for Pau? I think it is Alistair by a fair margin there. Oh, maybe not. A 26.5 for Alistair then gets him pole position in Spain. And that was a very, very messy qualifying there. Lewis was all out of shape throughout most of that. I'm really quite surprised that he's managed to somehow pull off a P2. You know that, only 54 milliseconds off. Seeing CJ on the intermediates, that's a shout. So, Alistair on pole position from Lewis, from Wet Lemons, from Chris Johnson, from Luca, from Jack Craig, from Deck, from Y-Racer, from CJ, from Daniel, from Neil Jack, from Mick Schumi, Just Say Sports, Matty C, and Red Bull Kim, with Jack Pearson and Dark Shadow being the disqualifications of the session. I've not turned off game audio. That isn't very smart of me. If I go and set myself up on a party really quickly, hopefully that shouldn't be an issue. Chris party, so no one should be able to join it. Right, so as the drivers now go and select their strategies, it is looking dry, but you never know. Maybe it might start raining. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know who to bet on for this win. By the way, Jack Craig's favourite for round one's pole position was CJ, but he decided to go into intermediates. I don't think that was the shout which could have got him pole. Well, it didn't get him pole. I don't think. Yeah, it wasn't a smart decision. I think he probably would have got maybe top 5 on the wets. So not a great choice by him. Anyway, we go to 4, 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's lights out and away we go. Who gets the better start from Alistair and Lewis Craig? I think Alistair's got the better run. He has. However, Lewis, he's going to have to sit back for now. Alistair leads from Lewis Craig. There's a fight for P4 here between the Haas and the Ferrari. Oh, look at that. They're all going on the grass. As Chris Johnson has to run on the grass to try and defend from Luca, but can't keep it. Luca up P4. Meanwhile, Yuri around the inside of Jack Craig makes the move stick into P8. Wace, who's had an awful qualifying, by the way, up into 13th. Who's that off? There's someone off. Oh, there's contact made there. I think Dark Shadow and Red Bull Kim maybe have had an incident. Or Matt, I feel like maybe. Meanwhile, Aston Martins are getting feisty. Oh, look at them all running wide as Acorn weaving. Maybe frustration with his teammate. Maybe he knows that he is going to be quicker than his teammate, or maybe they've had contact or something. Either way, Acorn not happy, or as he drifts his way through this third to last corner here. Ooh, Yuri getting all out of shape as well. So they are fighting for sixth. Meanwhile, Wet Lemons has a run on Lewis Craig, and he moves himself up to P2. Wet Lemons now on a charge into P2. I believe he's won a title before in TGP2, and well, he is coming back for sure. He might have struggled in TGP1 last season, but he is here to make his mark. So, Alistair still leads then. Lewis Craig down a third. Title fighter, well at the moment title leader. CJ though, also equal odds to win the title, down in 6th, so not any better for CJ as he's staying with them. It's going to be a bit of a DRS train for this first stint. As who is that? Everyone's running wide for that corner. Who's that? McLaren. It's Say Sports. Loses the place to Jack Pearson as Waste moves himself up to 11th. Oh, maybe not. Gets a bit out of shape. Drops down to 12th again. Sorry, my bad. As Jess and Mick Schumacher maybe looking at a fight. Gonna back out of it. Meanwhile, Alistair, Wet Lemon's fastest lap of the race. So he is, he's looking quick. It's Wet Lemon's first race back into TGP2 since we came back. As Chris Johnson makes a move on Luca, but a bit of desyncs going on here. Chris getting all sorts of out of shape again. And so yeah, sorry, Chris. He's sticking with Luca. Luca. I don't know how Chris made that almost a run there. He was sliding about everywhere. Yeah, so a bit of desync here in this lobby, which is a bit unfortunate. Might be my end, might not be. I'm not 100% certain. I will ask after the race is finished if this is a lobby issue or not. Deck, he's weaving. I don't know if he's doing it to get heat into his tyres or if he's saying to CJ, move, I'm faster than you, but he's not a happy bunny, I don't think. Maybe he is. Maybe he's saying, go on CJ, go and push. Who knows, maybe it's motivational. Anyway, on to lap 4, and Wet Lemons has got a brilliant run onto Alistar. On the straight, easy does it, into the lead. Wet Lemons goes into the race lead on lap 4. Meanwhile, this fight, ooh, we got Neil Jack and Waste, they're still going at it. Waste is having an awful race so far. Someone who had a really good start to the season. I know it's only week 3, but he's not had a good start to tonight. But maybe he can he can get himself points. I'm sure of it. He just needs to needs to keep his head cool, which I feel like right now he might not be doing. Yellow flag. Set to 2. Who is it for? No one. I think the game's just messing with me. I say Waste is having a bad start, but he's gained, well, he had gained 7 places, but he's now dropped down to 14th. I don't know what's going on with Waste. Anyway, back to the lead of the race, and just like last lap, Alistar now takes the lead of the race from Wet Lemons. Is Lewis Craig going to have potentially a look on Wet Lemons? Thinks about it, sits back for now. He is on... Oh, Wet Lemons all out. Oh no, he's lost the rear end, gone into the gravel, tapped it, and he's now lost all that time. He was leading the race, started the lap at the start of lap 5, and he is now down to P8, losing precious time to leaders. If he can't stick with these guys, that could be his chances of the win out the window. Meanwhile, there was something going on in the background, unfortunately. Didn't catch it. Waste again. Dropping places here, sorry. I'm not quite sure why. He hasn't pitted, or he's just struggling. Has he got himself damage or something? I do wonder. No one has made pit stops. Look at him, he's all over the place. Has he got himself some damage? He has no front wing damage, so it must be... Oh, he's drifting everywhere. Has he got the wrong setup on? Makes you think he's drifting every corner. He's turned into a rally driver. That's how Waste. He's got a pit, surely. Why is he staying out? Right, well, Waste. Interesting choices in moves. Meanwhile, Wet Lemons has unfortunately fallen out of the DRS window for the leaders. We had a few pit stops, Chris and Daniel. Where's Chris going to come out? He's going to lose time behind Kaya, and that was close between Red Bull Kim and Chris. Chris needs to get past Red Bull Kim as soon as possible. Or he is going to be in some serious trouble with this fight with Luca. Goes around the outside. Pretty easy move on the better tyres. I'm going to change this back to this. What should I put on? Let's do that. Anyway, let's go back to the fight for the lead of the race. Waste gets himself up to 14th. I'm not going to go on to that, especially when Matty has spun, I think. Or has had some contact with Waste. Here we go, Lewis Craig on lap 7. Opens the DRS wide. Lags a bit. Gets past Alistar. Lags again. Into the lead of the race. Again, not sure if that is his Wi-Fi or mine. If it is mine, my bad. I think Matt might have had that spin. I think he might have hit the wall. He has no front wing. He now peels into the pit lane, and that could be a race over for the Williams driver. Meanwhile, Deck, who was weaving very angrily at CJ, Deck being Aegon, sorry, I keep calling people by their actual names. I don't know if I'm allowed to. I will need permission. But for now, I'll call them by their names, just because otherwise it's going to get confusing for myself. CJ really off the circuit there. He's managed to keep it in a straight line, but he's down in 8th place. It's such a silly mistake. Very easy to make. One clip of the inside curb and your car just doesn't want to stay on the circuit. Talking about staying on the circuit, Yuri nearly not staying on the circuit. He's managed to just about stay on the circuit. And talking about staying on the circuit, Wace, who has been struggling this whole race of staying on the circuit, didn't stay on the circuit and has slipped off the circuit. So, Alistar and Lewis stay as they were from the previous lap before. Lewis is still leading the race. Yeah, Alistar not going to make any moves as of yet. I'm really surprised Wace isn't pitted. He must have some sort of rear wing damage or something. Or he's using a default setup. I really don't get why he stayed out. If it's tyre pressures, pit onto hards. I get he probably doesn't want to pit onto softs because they'd overheat in like a lap if you've got minimum tyre pressure, even though it's backwards compared to real life. Anyway, quickly go to the front because Lewis, Craig and Alistar are fighting it for the lead as they go side by side through the slow corners of sector 3. Ooh, was there a bit of contact there? I'm not quite sure, but Lewis sits behind. He will now go and probably make the move on the straight, I imagine. Here we go. DRS open. Alistar has nothing. Is he burning? He isn't burning. Lewis Craig into the lead once again on lap 9. A few more pitters, Wet Lemons being one of them, going on to the medium tyres. So there's Neil Jack, as Jack Pearson has got himself a 3-second time penalty. Who was my driver of the day in Portugal. And there's someone else who got driver of the day from me, but he was one of them. He had an outstanding drive in Portugal. Unfortunately, doesn't seem to be having as good of a race tonight. Wet Lemons, by the way, in quite good clear air, 5-second gap to him and Mick Schumacher. So this is where he tries to gain back some time on the leaders. Talking about the leaders, Alistar sits back for this lap as Dark Shadow seems to have gone off, which is unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. So here we go then, fight for the lead. Not fight for the lead because Alistar has come into the pit lane. This will be kind of like a reply to Wet Lemons, who is obviously pitted. Wet Lemons will be flying on those medium tyres. Alistar onto softs, got to make 7 laps of them. Might be a bit worn off at the end. So let's see, where does he come out compared to Wet Lemons? I can see him on the map. I think Wet Lemons, oh no, he hasn't easily got him. Here we go, coming out the pit lane, Alistar, and Wet Lemons has got the lead of the race. And I think Wace has gone off once again. He is rather missed the pit lane. Oh, well, he's hit the ball there, and there's no DRS anymore because he's hit the DRS sign, which has decided to turn into dust. Anyway, ignoring the game's awful physics, Jack Craig is all over the back of CJ after his spin. CJ obviously not having a spin, he went off circuit and unfortunately lost a fair few positions from it. Wace again off the circuit. He's flooring it for every corner. I'm confident he's just given up. I wouldn't blame him. Anyway, Alistar and Wet Lemons fighting it out for what will be a net P2 as it stands. However, Lewis Craig into the pit lane. Will that fighting between the two of them hold them up? Williams being the last pit crew of the pit lane. Jess takes the lead of the race. And who takes the lead of the race? It looks like Alistar will. Will Wet Lemons be able to get Lewis as well? He does. So Lewis goes from the lead down to P4, P3 net. Because of staying out one extra lap. However, he's got fresher tyres out of all of them. So Lewis, he's got the better tyres. Can he make the most of them? Tell you what, he's got much better grip than Wet Lemons. Is he going to go around the outside? No, he won't. He will sit behind. Or he's gone for a mega switch back there. But he's got a run. Surely you don't send it here. Oh, he sent it there. Oh, there's a bit of contact between the two of them, but Lewis has made it through. And that is Lewis in to P3. Meanwhile, Alistair overtakes his teammate Jess, doing a very good job in P2. Now, will she maybe hold up the guys behind just that little bit to help her teammate out? Let's see. Or will she think about her own race? She thinks about her own race. However, kind of compromises Alistair here, because Alistair has a 1.5 second gap. But because Jess fell back, Lewis got DRS from her. Therefore, he's now only 1.2 seconds behind Alistair. Will Alistair be able to hold it off though? He's at the DRS, which is exactly what you want. Meanwhile, Yuri and CJ fighting it out. Deck, who I said was getting very frustrated behind his teammate, is in P5. And I'd say he's proving why he should be in P5. Say Sports cutting the corner a little bit there. Not a line you normally take round here. Meanwhile, Jack Craig all over the back of Yuri. Yuri is he's sitting behind CJ here. CJ isn't having talking. I was just about to say CJ's not having the best race. 3-second time penalty isn't going to help, especially with Yuri, who already had I think it's a 3-second time penalty. I don't even remember him getting it. Yep, 3-second time penalty. So now he has got to actually defend against Yuri. Jack Craig here, he's licking his lips. He's got a chance of P6 here. So, here we go again. The fight for the lead has slightly gapped themselves meanwhile, so we are going to watch this. It's these guys really struggling to stay on the circuit. I forgot to say at the start of the stream, the handling, I believe, I haven't touched it, but it's been updated. I'm going to remove that to laboratory. The game's been updated, I think it was Monday. The braking apparently is a lot more difficult and different. So, I'm not sure, I haven't tried it myself, haven't had time to. That might be why you've got the likes of Wace, who is struggling down in P9, well, he's DNF'd, he was struggling the whole race. Simply, maybe because he's just not gotten used to the game. So, I don't know, it's a theory, but I've seen a lot of people say it's a lot more different now. How different, I'm not too sure. By next week, I'll be back and I'll be able to tell you how different it is. Mick Schumacher and Daniel and Neil. I'm gonna call you Neil? Neil? I'll call you Neil. I'll call you Jack, but there's like 3 other Jacks. Oh, Daniel has gone. Where has he gone off? Oh, he's retired on circuit. He did disconnect earlier this race. I wonder if the game's done that. Meanwhile, Aston Martin, these two, I think have had a bit of a brawl already once this race. CJ passes his teammate up to P5. CJ is now going to be pushing to the limits to try and secure himself at least a P6. Jack Craig, though, I'm sure will want that P6 off CJ. And you never know, maybe a P5 for Jack would be a brilliant result from him. Meanwhile, we've been focused on the midfield for a little bit. Well, it's time to focus on the leaders again. Because guess what? Lewis, he has got himself DRS back on Alistair. He has put those laps in and has had better laps than Alistair. Somehow, Lewis lost time in that straight despite having DRS. I'm not entirely sure how that works, especially with how this game works. So unless maybe the updates fix the DRS trains, I'm not too sure. I didn't read the patch notes. Did he get DRS this time? He didn't. That could be crucial. 2 laps to go in this race. And I tell you what, Deck, is he going to stay? He could try and make an overtake on CJ again here. He is. And I tell you what, CJ's got to worry here because I think Yuri, he's also going to make the move on CJ. CJ now down to P7 and this does not help him one bit because now he's got Jack Craig all over. It doesn't help Yuri or CJ. Jack Craig is now straight, like right behind him, and is ready to take them on penalties. These two are going at it. I just realised. Yuri down the inside of CJ. Can he make it stick? Oh, he's got a bit out of shape here. They go side by side again. We saw Lewis and Wet Lemons crash here, and they've touched again. CJ just about managing to stay on track. They're still going side by side. This is unbelievable between the two of them. Side by side for the fast right-hander. They've still managed to keep it on circuit. Yuri managing to keep the move the position for now. But here goes Jack Craig. He's going to try and make the move here. Brilliant racing between the three of them here. Jack Craig having to back out for now. CJ, can he go around the outside of Yuri? No, he can't. He sits behind. This is the fight for P6, and I tell you what, this is really heating up between the two of them. I really don't want to cut away from this battle. Do we need to? I don't think we will. Here we go. Fight for P6. They go 3 wide here. I think they're going 3 wide. Yuri now down to P8. Who gets P6? CJ does. He outbreaks them and gets himself up to P6. Can he keep that place? We will find out as Yuri gets past Jack Craig. I don't know if he was already. CJ now needs his teammate to slow down effectively. Just give CJ that DRS for that one last lap to keep him that P7. Jack Craig, though, at the moment, looking like a P6 result would be brilliant from him. Meanwhile, Wet Lemons has had a spin. That is so unfortunate for the Alpine driver. Gutted for him. He's now down to P5. As Jack Craig gets Yuri, who's gone in the wall. What has happened between him? He was having such a good race with CJ and Jack Craig. That is not good news for him. Meanwhile, we go to the last lap, and we have completely forgotten about these guys for a few laps. Here goes Lewis Craig on the start-finish straight here. And it looks like he's going to breeze past Alistair here. Lewis Craig for the lead of the race. I tell you what, Lewis, he's decided to stay on the inside. Oh, maybe not. He's popped himself ahead of Alistair. And he takes the lead. That was some interesting movement there from Lewis. Oh, who has disconnected from the session on the last lap. Here we go then. I'm going to commentate on Alistair's move here. Here goes Alistair as he drives through Lewis Craig. And he takes the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. His AI is actually fighting him, which is incredible. So, is it fair? Will be the question Lewis will be asking. I'm sure he will say, no, it's not fair. His internet crashed, or I think he said something about him lagging earlier. But it doesn't matter about Lewis. At the end of the day, Alistair's internet was stable. He was stable. He made no mistakes tonight. He took pole position, and well, he is going to take the win here in Spain. Alistair is your winner in Spain. Lewis Craig will get himself P2, or his AI will. Luca will get himself P3, by the way, underrated drive. For this fight for P4, Deck gets it with Wet Lemons 5th, and Jack Craig, brilliant, P6. CJH in P7 after all that hard fighting. I'm sure he will take it in the end of the day. He was ahead of Yuri. I don't know what happened between Yuri, if he got into a collision with anyone, but we will find out. Chris Johnson finishes 8th, Jack Pearson 9th. Jess, by the way, brilliant drive from her. P10, she'll be happy with that. Yuri, P11 after the crash. Mick Schumacher 12th, Neil Jack 13th, Sayer Sports 14th, and we jump to the back where Matty C will get himself P15. I think he had a spin earlier in the race which compromised him, and Dark Shadow, as he goes wide, will get himself P16, which I'm sure he won't be too happy about, but yeah. Oh, as he nearly spins, he's got half a front wing. Not sure what's happened to him. But Alistair is the man you're going to talk about as your first win of the night for Red Bull. I'm sure he will be delighted with that win. I'm sure it's not the way he'd want to win it. But nevertheless, he won. He won't complain. I'm sure Lewis, though, I'm sure there will be a few complaints. There'll be a few complaints from Lewis, as we've got people in the chat. Hello, Casper and Shia. She is saying, waste at the back here. Yeah, I don't know if it's a skill issue or if a setup issue. Casper saying, race banned for round 1 and 2 of calling real names. I don't know if that's a rule. If that is, oh god. Casper also says battle looks familiar. It does, doesn't it? So here we go for the race results. Alistar wins from Lewis Craig, from Luca, from Acorn, from Wet Lemons, from Jack Craig. CJH, despite the mistakes, finished 7th with the fastest lap. Chris Johnson 8th. Jack Pearson 9th. Jess Ball 10th. Driver of the day, by the way, I think. Didn't give her much screen time, but yeah, 10th. Yuri 11th. Mick Schumacher 12th. Neil Jack 13th, Say Sports 14th, Matty C 15th, Dark Shadow 16th, Red Bull Kim 17th, Daniel 18th, and Wace 19th. With Red Bull Kim, Daniel, and Wace all DNFing. I just about managed to get that in with the 30 seconds. I ran out of breath. I now need a drink because my mouth is very, very, very dry. But yeah, that was a really exciting race. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We now go to, I think it's Miami. I think it's Miami. We'll find out when Jack changes the track. Right. A lot of people were struggling with tyre pressures, not tyre pressures, tyre heat. I don't know. Overheating tyres. That's what I'm trying to say. Chris Johnson being one of the complaints about that. So, yeah, if you're watching the stream, come say hi. You'll get a nice name shout out as long as it's appropriate. So, if you want your 5 seconds of fame, come say hi. We are all welcoming you. I am your commentator, Kieran. I don't know if Dom has the standings for us yet. If he does, I'd appreciate if he sends it to me, and we will see what the standings are like. But I don't even know if Dom's watching. If you're here, say hi, Dom. Yeah, so as the driver's ready up, Kaya has said that he's restarting his PlayStation. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're waiting for him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Miami. Obviously, there is 3 DRS zones. There is, yeah, 3 DRS zones, start, finish, straight. Then the straight before the really slow corners, and then the really stupidly long straight. I need my track maps back up. I feel like that is probably a really good idea. I used to do it for my races. I've forgotten to do it this season. Here we go. So now I'm going to be able to tell you everything about the circuits, which is going to be useful for you viewers. I'll give you some information about the track, if I can find it. It's 29, not 29 laps, ignore me, 18-second pit loss. So when you pit, you lose 18 seconds. Those 18 seconds could be 20 seconds, it could be 30 seconds. 1 mile per hour over the speed limit, 10-second time penalty, race pretty much over unless you've got a 20-second lead, which in a 25% race, you'd need a lot of skill. Like myself, I think I won by like 15-20 seconds in Imola one season, so not gonna get too cocky, but yeah. Wet Lemon says he's never won TGP2, balled up too many times. I thought you were a champion. Is that you've never won a race or just the championship? Either way, this season could be your chance. So don't, you know, don't be so negative. Right, anyway, we're going to go into qualifying. My map would like to load up. I can get us into commentary. Let's go on board with Alistair, our race winner from last night, from last race. Into turn 1, clip the apex on the inside. Then don't run the curbs too much through here. This very, very much of a gamble of which curb you run on, which ones you don't. Alistair runs on all of them by the looks of it. I tell you what, it is working so far. Into turn 7. And then 8. Burn the ERS down the straight before opening your DRS into what is turn 9 and 10. Very small turns, but turns nevertheless. Going into turn 11, deep braking, clip the apex on the inside, run it right wide through here. Into turn 12, 13, and then really slow through turn 14 and 15. Actually very easy to invalidate, believe it or not, or spin, as Alistair nearly showed us there. Into turn 16, get on the throttle early, and it's just full throttle down the straight. Burn a fair bit of ERS. You need to be careful because you do need some ERS going to the line. Waste is retired, that's not good for him. Into turn 17, again hard braking, clip the apex on the left, he's missed it. Into turn 18, again get a good run, and then into the final corner, turn 19, and it is again Alistair on pole position. I do not see Lewis Craig in the session. Is he not racing at all? Has his internet completely busted? Do we have a clue? Okay, so starting order: Alistair from Chris Johnson, good qualifying from Chris Johnson, and Deck, third place for him. Luca fourth, Wet Lemons fifth, Yuri sixth, Jess seventh, only 7/10 off pole. Daniel 8th, Jack Craig 9th, Neil Jack 10th, CJ down in 11th, awful qualifying from him again. Matty C 12th, Mick Schumacher 13th, Red Bull Kim 14th, and Wace, Say Sports, and Jack Pearson all disqualified from the session. Lewis Craig is racing, he just, unfortunately, the game has not let him join qualifying. So he's going to probably be starting from dead last and on a default setup. That is awful news from him, and it is looking quite overcast. Tell you what though, Alistair, who is he a reserve? Hang on, let me just check the title odds really quickly. He's a 4-1. He's 4-1 to win the title. And at the moment in the championship order is 7th. I really need to get better on my math skills. So, well, he's going to be much higher than that now, with Wace and Yuri having bad races. Might be up to like 4th or something right now. Who knows? I guess we'll find out. Apparently, yeah, Lewis was made to watch the timer before qualifying, and he couldn't even take part. Unfortunately for him. However, you don't get points for qualifying, you get them in the race. So, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Miami Grand Prix. It's lights out. And away we go. Who gets a better start between Alistair and Chris Johnson? All kind of equal between the two of them. Alistair, I thought, was going to go down the inside. Well, he has. He's taken the lead of the Miami Grand Prix. Luca in second place. Alistair, awful start from him. As Wet Lemons down in 4th. Acorn, I think, has had a spin somewhere. He's definitely had an off, and he's got front wing damage. Not the great start he wanted. Down in 17th, he's going to have to pit early. Lewis Craig already up to P14. Great start from him. Waste and CJ going side by side. Going to keep it clean between the two of them. I think so. I think we need to cut away, though, to the lead of the race as Luca takes the lead of the Miami Grand Prix. Will Chris try to fight this right now? No, he will not. So it's Luca who takes the lead from the race. Started, I think, 3rd or 4th. He's now up into the lead at the end. In the midsection of lap 1. Great start from Luca. Not a great start though from Deck. Down in P16 with front wing damage. Not what he wants. Meanwhile, Alistair, he is coming back for P2 here. He's burning his ERS and he gets past Chris. What a brilliant first lap this has been, as Wet Lemons nearly running into the back of Chris, as Daniel gets past Jess for P6, and Waits and Neil Jack going side by side, and Neil Jack defends off Waits, who will sit behind for now, as CJ's sniffing his exhaust a little bit. He wants a little bit of Waits, who's getting all out of shape. I think Waits is really struggling with this new braking. Lewis Craig, meanwhile, jumps himself up to 12th. Maybe not. Oh, Mick Schumacher doesn't, sorry. As he drops down to 14th now. Has he got front wing damage? No, he doesn't. Tell you what, he does have. Not the circuit. He's now down to P15. Meanwhile, we got to the lead of the race here. We've got currently nearly the whole grid fighting for this lead of the race. As Wet Lemons takes P3. Chris Johnson tries to send it down the inside. Can't make it. I tell you what though, Wet Lemons very close to tapping Alistair. That could have been a horrendous crash. As they go through the slow section, the Mickey Mouse section, I think they called it. If I'm correct. I hope I'm correct. As we go down the long straight. Here we go. So Alistair will have DRS. They will all have DRS. And look at them all on snaking on the straight. Doesn't look like Alistair's going to make any sort of move on Luca. Wet Lemons as though. And he's hit Alistair and has given himself front wing damage. That's the best thing you could have done in that situation. He seemed to be really late on the brakes recently. He's just outdone himself. Oh, I don't like this lag. they crashed with each other and then Chris just teleports away from them. As Neil Jack fastest lap of the race. But yeah, Wet Lemons, he seemed to be really late on the brakes the last few laps. He's just outbroke himself finally. Yuri will now want to be getting past Wet Lemons as quickly as he can because, well, his teammates holding him up right now and he's actually falling out of the DRS zone. Yuri did not need this. And he's now going to hope, I don't think Wet Lemons is burning his DRS, he's letting him through. Daniel also goes through. And yeah, so Daniel's actually going to make a move on Yuri here for P4. And Yuri concedes. Daniel up to P4. Could he maybe fight for the podium? Tell you what though, someone who's fighting for points. Jack Craig, who's fighting with Wace and CJ. Wace, who is now up to P11 after obviously the poor qualifying he had. He's really trying to get himself up there, so is Lewis Craig and CJ. Quite big names down the order. Helps these guys get up in the championship. As Alistair on the straight, will he try to make the move on Luca? Tries to go around the outside. Can he make it stick? He's going to be ran out of road. No, he won't. Not this time around. Someone's gone off. It's Yuri who has gone off. I think he's had a spin. And he's going to really not be a good move there. Cutting across the pit lane as Luca and Alistair, I think, were going side by side, but unfortunately missed it. As look at this, Luca give it like he's saving all his ERS up, and it's Alistair's getting really frustrated. He wants to get past him as soon as he can, but he also doesn't want to lose the DRS zone. And this has brought Chris and Daniel straight back into it. Here we go then. It's a fight from first to fourth for the win of the Grand Prix. And we've still got 10 laps to go, but well, it's already been a great start to this race. Here goes Alistair. He's got his DRS burning. I think they both ran out of deployment here. Or Luca is saving his battery. Let's watch him board. Luca he's low on battery. Alistair not so much. He's saving his ERS. Smart move. Chris also decent on ERS, and Daniel not so much. But here we go then. On the long straight out of the Mickey Mouse section. And Luca is going to need to defend from Alistair. I don't know, 6/10, that's quite a gap, but the straight is so long that, you know, Alistair could easily send it and get the place. But he sits back for now. So, We go on to lap 5. I think Alistair's just going to sit behind again. As Luke is going to do his thing of saving his ERS. Wet Lemon's 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I tell you what, it's a rough move there from Alpine because both their drivers have front wing damage. As here we go, Alistair around the outside of Luca. No way. No, he can't make the move stick. These guys are really trying optimistic moves. It's that waste off again. It is. I think he is struggling with this new braking as Red Bull Kim's decided to take a trip to I don't know, any places in America, Texas. As Alistair on the back of Luca. He sits back for now. Yeah, I feel like I've made myself look like an idiot. CJ, up the inside of Jess, will just try to fight this back. She will sit behind and probably wait for the DRS. Again, Jess, brilliant driver at the moment, P6. And, well, she might be able to get back at Jess for P5. Here we go. I think she might be a bit far back for the lead, meanwhile. Looks like a bit too far back. I'll tell you who isn't too far back. Daniel on Chris. Here we go. Then Daniel might have a contention to take a podium. Well, he is in a podium spot into P3. So, there's Chris. He's got a good run on Daniel here. Can he maybe fight this one back? He's going to take the inside line. He will sit back for now. Neil Jack, Lewis, Craig and Jack Pearson into the pits. Let's see where these... Because obviously these guys, because they are, you know, they're top names in this title fight of the race. I don't know what he's doing with his tyre pressures, but it does seem to be his tyres are overheating or he's killing them one way or another. These guys are so low down that given these guys, Luca, Alistair, Daniel, Chris, all really good like hopes of, you know, bringing them right back into the championship. Waste 3-second time penalty. I feel like we should maybe we'll get distracted by Waste unless he causes more chaos. Dark Shadow has gone off into the Mickey Mouse section. I think Luca might have made a little bit of a mistake. Alistair gets an awful run out of the exit though, but burns the ERS to gain that time back. Luca ran out of ERS. Here we go then on the straight again. And Alistair's going to try around the outside again. I don't think that was ever going to work. Here we go then. Luca's ran out of ERS completely. And Alistair goes to the outside. Luca breaks very much deeper than him and he's made it work. He's ahead. He keeps first place in this race. Here we go though. It looks like Alistair might just try and go around the outside. He does. Oh, maybe not. Luca's defended the inside and again has managed to stay ahead. This is brilliant defending from Luca. I thought that Alistair was going to have that easily done, but rather Luca's braking really late or Alistair's braking really early so he can get the DRS. Here we go again on the straight. Let's see what these two do again. Alistair not burning ERS. Luca isn't either, but his ERS is so low. I presume so anyway, unless the game's lying to me. No, it is lower. Yeah, thought maybe the game might have been lying to me. Here we go, Mickey Mouse section once again. And we'll go and open DRS very shortly. Alistair burning his ERS. Luca is doing so too, but he's ran out of it. This is Alistair's best shot of taking the lead, surely. He's not burning his ERS though. Down the inside, will he go? Luca defends. And I tell you what, Luca's doing a brilliant job defending Alistair here. If I'm Alistair, I'm maybe considering pitting now. You know, halfway through the race. Here we go again. And will Luca be able to defend the place? He does. Alistair's going to try to go around the outside. Ran out of room. And Luca keeps first place again. He's doing a really good job defending this from Alistair. Maybe Alistair's just sitting back, knowing he's quicker, or maybe he is really just struggling to get past Luca, who knows. Here we go then, on the straight again, the first straight. Oh, well, the second straight out of the three, I guess you could say. Here we go. I'm gonna stop watching on board and get on to the TV shots. Waste is retired out of the session again. That's 2 DNFs out of 2 so far. Has Alistar, no, he's not run out of battery. He's just saving his ERS a bit. As through the Mickey Mouse section again. This section, by the way, very crucial to the run that you get on this straight. One little slip up, Alistar could be through. Here we go then, on the straight. Let's watch on board of the rear of Luca. Alistar's got the DRS open. He's flying past here. And that should be position finally conceded. It looks like Alistar has finally gotten past Luca, and he pits, and so does Luca. They both pit, going into the pit. You don't want the speed coming into the pit lane, but Alistar has sped into the pit lane right when he gets past Luca. He speeds into the pit lane, and that is a massive, massive fumble. That's one mistake you didn't want to make, and Luca, meanwhile, he's been glitched behind Chris. That wasn't very fair. Ah, you gutted for Alistar. So he is now potentially bottled himself. I said this earlier, 1 mile per hour over the pit lane, and it costs you the whole race. Alistar now has 6 laps to just go all out on pace and gain 10 seconds. Well, not only Luca, but like most of the field. You know, he wants to get a podium here. You know, Daniel's only 2 seconds behind. Daniel here could get P2. Chris could get, well, P2 as well. This is huge, as Lewis Craig 3-second time penalty has not been the race that he's wanted. Obviously having the disconnection in Spain and missing out on qualifying, I believe he's probably on a default setup. I'm going to hope he knows that even on Parc Ferme he can adjust the tyre pressures and maybe up the wings, but apart from that he's not in the best place setup wise. Meanwhile, Chris Johnson then, DRS open, will he burn his ERS to get past Daniel here? He's going to be braking later. Looks like Daniel defends for now. By the way, Jess again in the lead, pits, and so does Jack Craig. And here goes Chris. Is it going to maybe send it down the inside? No, he sits back for now. CJ, by the way, down in. You say he's had a better recovery drive here. P5, no penalties. I think penalties have been what's cost him a lot this season. CJ's had brilliant drives. It's just been penalties and qualifying as well. He seems to really struggle with that. As Jack Pearson up to P7. Undercut has worked for him and Neil Jack on Jess, who is now 8th. Lewis Craig 9th. I believe everyone has made a pit stop. What's that? Sorry. As Lewis Craig gets past Jess and will now get past Jack Pearson into P7 as our championship leader. Oh, Jack Pearson going to maybe send it down the inside to defend it. No, he won't. As Jack gets past Jess, she taps him round, and that is Jack Craig into the wall and around. I feel like a penalty might be coming Jess's way. That's unfortunate, she was having a really good race. Meanwhile, fight for P3 and podium spot. Well, could be P2 because of Alistar's 10-second time penalty. Daniel Craig Daniel P. Wilnut will stay in P3. Daniel Craig, man. That's a new one for me. Oh, Chris getting all sorts of not in a good shape. Definitely isn't a circle. It's more like a rectangle he was making there. Meanwhile, Jack Pearson defending off Lewis Craig. Both have 3-second time penalties again. I'd say just like CJ, Lewis with the penalties, he needs to be more consistent with staying on circuit. Same with CJ. It has cost them both quite dearly, and it could cost them the championship. You never know. As this should be quite an easy move, I imagine, for Lewis. As Yuri gets past Jack. Meanwhile, we don't see it, but yeah, here we go. Lewis and Jack. Jack gets passed by Lewis. Lewis up to P7. As Jess gets past Wet Lemons again for P9. And Daniel, by the way, he's pulled the gap to Chris. So at the moment he is in a net P3. I'm sure he will be really happy with P3. I think. Yuri, 3-second time penalty. Another driver I'd very much like to point out in terms of consistency. Not only penalties but also the spins. If he stays on circuit, I mean, I think Britain, he was really fighting for the win, and then he bottled it with a penalty. And then it's just been, spins in Baku, penalties in, I think, most every race, bless him. Wet Lemons into the pit lane again. Is this his first stop? No way, is it? No, it's the second. Where's he pitted again? He's serving a 10-second. I don't remember him getting that. I'm just going to very much point out the fans up there cheering on the pit crew to finally get the job done. Oh, he's got a wing change as well. As Jack Craig gets past Yuri. Oh, Jack Craig round. Oh, how did he save that from the barrier? Wow. He drops down to P14, but I think he'll be more happy the fact that he didn't hit the wall. As Neil Jack gets passed by Jack Craig here, goes side by side. I'm sure Neil Jack will defend it. He does. He's really good defending there. The Haas driver, however, unfortunately, defending before a DRS zone isn't exactly what you want to do, because I feel like he's now going to get swallowed up by not only Lewis but also Jack Pearson here. Here we go. Lewis with the DRS open. And will Neil Jack defend it? He's braking just as late. Can he make the move stick with tap wheels? And Neil Jack hanging on P6. He wants this P6. They start lap 13. Doesn't need to fight this as hard as he is, to be fair, because they've both got penalties, Lewis and Jack. So, oh, here's Jack Pearson. He's hanging out around the outside here. Is he going to send it up the inside? No, he won't. He'll back out for now. Tell you what, Jess, again, really good result here. P7 as it stands. As for Alistair, will currently, I think, finish 5th from the lead. Bear in mind he has a 3.5 second gap. It's so unfortunate. This game is brutal penalties. In fairness, it's the FIA who brought in the harsher penalties and not EA. So you can't blame the game for it. As Lewis Craig, what is that attempt, man? You can't just send it up the inside like a half-assed attempt. That was silly there. I wonder if he's lost his head slightly. I wouldn't blame him. It's been a rough night. And to be fair, none of it's really been his fault. Here we go then. On the long straight, once again, as we start the last lap. Alistair starts the last lap. Luke has gained a lot of time on Alistair. As Lewis, as he finally made the move on Neil Jack. Neil Jack squeezes him, and again, stays ahead of Lewis Craig. Here we go then. On to the start-finish straight. And Lewis Craig, I'm going to go around the outside here. Has he made the move? Yes, he has. Lewis Craig in a P6. Now he's got to somehow make 3 seconds, I think it is. On Neil Jack in a lap. Anyway, we're going to cut away from that and we're going to cut to, well, Alistair, who has driven a really good race. One mistake. I don't know how fast he went into that pit lane, but it cost him 10 seconds. Wet Lemons, or he's drifting. I wonder if those tyres have died. So, Alistair. Get onto the long straight. He has driven a really good race. I feel like he has, yeah, he's driven brilliantly, and one mistake has cost him the win. It will be Alistair, who will come across the line in P1. However, it will be Luca who will win the race in Miami. Daniel Craig, brilliant result in P2. CJ will finish P3 on circuit, gets past Chris Johnson at the end there. Chris Johnson will get P4. Alistair ends up in 5th. And Neil, Jack and Lewis side by side across the line. And Neil Jack will get 6th. Yes, an amazing 7th place. Lewis Craig 8th. Mick Schumacher will get 9th in the end. That's another good result there. And the Ferrari man, Jack Pearson, will get 10th in the end for those penalties. Matty C, after the horrible race he had in Spain, gets P11. Deck finishes 12th after the crash he had on lap 1. Jack Craig 13th after the incident he had with Jess. I'm sure she'll be investigated for that. Yuri will get P14 after the incident he had by himself, I'm pretty sure. Say Sports actually gets 14th, Yuri 15th, Wet Lemon 16th, and Dark Shadow will get 17th. It has been all Dark Shadow goes off circuit. It's been a horrible night for Alpine. They look really quick on paper. It's just the consistency on circuit, it costs them. Without that, I honestly think that these two could fight for the championship. They just need to clear up the mistakes. So, Luca is your winner. And we have a few drivers to, mention here. Luca obviously wins. Alistair, who had a really good race. Daniel, P2. Outstanding. That came out of nowhere. Neil Jack 6th and Jess 7th. Another this tonight has shown a load of shocking results. Results which I didn't expect. So yeah, that's really good. It is a Manx 1-2, by the way. I'm presuming I'm saying that's right, and it's not Manx. I'll get killed if I say it's wrong, so I'm gonna say it can't be Manx, can it? Manx. Christ, I'm gonna get cancelled. Dom obviously happy with that, and so is Luca, and so is Daniel and CJ. CJ had an awful qualifying as well. Another driver who needs mentioning. These guys all getting brilliant, outstanding drives. I think all of them have had rather brilliant races or shockers. Anyway, here is your results for Miami. Luca wins from Daniel, from CJ, from Chris. Alistair wins it on the circuit but finishes P5 in the end. Neil Jack 6th place, good result from him. Jess 7th, good result from her, though I have a feeling a penalty might be coming her way. Lewis has a good comeback from 8th, getting to 10 places. Mick Schumacher, good race from him, 9th. Jack Pearson 10th. Matty C 11th, good race from him. Deck 12th, Jack Craig 13th, Say Sports 14th, Yuri 15th, Wet Lemons with the fastest lap in 16th, Dark Shadow 17th, and your DNFers are Wace and Red Bull Kim. So, that was a really exciting race. I was fighting everywhere. And yeah, that was really, really enjoyable to watch. Has anyone said anything in the chat? No, they haven't. Again, come say hi. I'm all here to chat. Talk about how your day's been. How's everything? What are your thoughts on the race? Talk about anything. I don't care. But yeah, that was a good race to watch. It had a lot of surprises. It had everything. And yeah, no one seems to have tried cancelling me for the way I said Manx. So far, good day in the office, I'd say. We now go to Monza. Really good circuit is Monza. I really, really enjoy Monza. I say it's probably top 5 in the calendar for me. I did see someone put in the chat about a few seasons ago. I think it actually looked like 2015. Um, there was like a massive crash going into turn one with the leaders on that one. Will we see the same tonight? I mean, I'd quite like to see the championship boys who are leading the championship fight for the win. At the same time, I wouldn't complain about seeing a shock new winner. We all love to see it, and it would throw another twist into the championship. Lewis, I think he must be. I don't know if he'll be leading the championship after tonight. Depends on what he gets in Monza. If he doesn't get a good result, might not look good for him. But yeah, it looks good so far. It's been two brilliant races. And yeah, so these guys now go and load in. I'm going to very quickly go through the odds with you. Because obviously they changed since week one. I'm going to put my own odds on because I've turned into a batting man apparently. I think Alistair, put him to 2-1. I think he goes to 2-1. Luca stays same. CJ put to 3-1. Chris Johnson 6-1. Waste put him down to like 50-1 if he keeps up with this. Yeah, I think currently I still think Lewis will win the title. I don't think he'll win. I think he will be I think throughout the season he will be there fighting for the championship. Just he needs to make sure this bad luck of form doesn't continue. Spain really ruined him. Obviously, so did Miami with the disconnection. As long as he has no more disconnections, no more penalties, he can still fight for this. CJ, I think, can fight for it. He just needs to be more, again, consistent. He's not had any internet issues. It's all been mostly skill, I think, or bad luck. And then Alistair's been brilliant tonight, and so has Luca. Two boys you need to watch out for. I think those guys, I think they deserve higher odds. I think they can definitely win the championship if luck goes their way. Anyway, let's go on board with Luca. If I can find his name. Where is he? I can't see him. Oh, I've probably gone past him about 500 times. There he is. So, into turn one. Get the apex nicely there. You meant to clip the apex down to turn two. Doesn't. And then we go through the fast right. Try to keep it tight. Oh. Into turn 4 and then turn 5. Really tight. You want to clip the apex, not too much. Don't run wide like Luca's done here. Into turn 6. Lesmo 1. Go on the throw early. Don't run it too wide. Into turn 7. Be careful through here. Very easy to lose the car and go into the barrier. Good so far. Into turn, well, technically turn 8, I think they class it as. Keep it nice and clean, and then Parabolica. Turn 9, very fast. Turn 10, don't clip the apex too much. Turn 11, don't hit that curb too much. That was pretty well done there from Luca as you go on the long straight. And then you come to the final corner. Brake early, get on the throttle early, and then it's a run to the line. I think Luca did look like he was going to get pole. Does he get pole? No, he doesn't. He gets spurred. Lewis Craig, I was saying about him, he didn't pick up the form again. He's shut me up pretty much. He is on pole position for your Monza Grand Prix, Italian Grand Prix. Apologies for my awful wording there. CJ, not the qualifying he wanted. I said this again. I'll say this again. He needs more consistency. Come on, man. You've got really good odds to win the title. Just need to get that qualifying on. So your champion, your order. Lewis Craig leads from Wet Lemons, from Luca, from Yuri, from Jess Brilliant P5, Daniel P6, Deck 7th, Mick Schumacher 8th, Matty C 9th, Jack Craig 10th, Neil Jack 11th, Red Bull Kim 12th, good result from him, Dark Shadow 13th, also good result from him, CJ, awful result from him, 14th, Jack Pearson, Chris Johnson, Wace, and Alistair. Alistair not getting a valid lap in, that could be huge for the championship. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. This just gets better. Oh, and it's raining. Oh, this is going to be a thriller. This is going to be a thriller. Let TGP cook. As Marco told us, it was a wet race. I forgot to look at the chat. Wet race, this is going to be brilliant. This is going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm sure of it. We're getting a shock winner. I'm saying it now. We're going to get someone who hasn't won this season at least before. I couldn't tell you who I think will win this race. It will rather be just like a standard, I don't know, Lewis or Luca win. Or it could, I honestly reckon it'll be someone midfield. You know, Jack Craig, Suggest, or Yuri. I never thought I'd say Yuri, but Yuri. Even Wet Lemons, I'd say he'd be a shock winner. Especially in the wet. Anyway, here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Italian Grand Prix. It is lights out and away we go. As they crawl off their starting positions. Who gets the better start? I believe it is Lewis Craig who does indeed take the lead into turn 1. Do they keep it all clean? Going into turn 1, there is debris off somewhere. Jess might have had a collision with someone, but so far it looks all good. Lewis Craig leads from Wet Lemons then. The top 5 stay the same. Well, actually, does it? Mick Schumacher up in P5? I don't think that has. Wow, great start from the Ferrari man. Daniel in P6, CJ 7th, and it is looking, so far, all clean and dandy. The 2 Red Bulls going side by side. And Waze somehow taking advantage out of that completely, got in the traction as they're all sliding about. Great start again from Yuri, who has moved himself up to P3. Alpine, I said they need to start performing, and here they are, P2 and P3. I believe as Jack and Waste side by side. Waste is an epic start as Alistair up to 14th. As Alpine swap positions, Yuri up to P2. Is Luca going to try and make a move on Wet Lemons as well? He's going to send it up the inside. There we go, side by side. Do they tap wheels? No, they don't. And I think who's got the better traction? Luca does. As he's now going to try and get past Yuri. And here they go. 3 wide. Oh, he's putting Luca off the circuit. He's got a 3-second time penalty on a straight. Luca, he's somehow defining all sorts of penalties and everything. He's got himself a 3-second time penalty. I presume Yuri might have put him off the white line on the straight and it's given him a 3-second time penalty. That's the first time I've seen that in a league race ever commentating. Meanwhile, Daniel and CJ side by side, and it looks like CJ has got Daniel. He's going to get the switchback. He's got a really good run there. They touch. Oh, I don't know how these guys have not spun as Deck gets past Daniel Delesmo 1. Jack Pearson sent it up the inside of Daniel into Delesmo 2, and Jack Craig, now we're talking about Jack Craig, is making 2 moves. Made the move on Jack Pearson, thinks about a move on Daniel as Waste now up to P10. This is a brilliant fight here for P8 here. There's too many like Craigs and Daniels. It's all muddled. Look at this. They're all right scrunched up together. However, no moves as of yet. This might be no pit stop race, by the way. because they don't need to. It's not mandatory. Yuri, fastest lap of the race. He wants that win. And tell you what, he is catching Lewis up quite a bit. Deck gets past CJ. As is any moves going to happen here going into turn 1? Or is Jack going to send it up the inside of Waze? He definitely does. But he can't make the move stick. He sits behind in P11. Is Jack Craig maybe gonna look at Daniel here? I don't think he will. No, he won't. So yeah, Yuri is catching Lewis quite quickly here. As Wace gets past Jack Craig, Alistair gets past Jack Pearson. So yeah, these guys here fighting for 8th. Really all close and pretty much equal on pace, I think. They're all fighting it out. Here goes Alistair on Jack Craig into P10. I forgot Wace and Alistair practically are on the comeback game, or trying to get as high as they can, really. But here is basically making moving family. Had a really good start as Jack Pearson gets past Jack Craig. Will Neil Jack be able to get involved with the Jack battle? He's going to have a look, maybe. Has he got a better exit than Jack Craig, who has front wing damage and who hits? Meanwhile, P2 and P3 fighting out. Luca going to try and go around the outside. Oh, I tell you what, he's made that very cleanly past Yuri, though. He gets the better exit, much better exit. And he goes and takes back P2 from Luca. That was a really good exit. Luca, though, he's got the run on Yuri. Is it going to go down the inside? No, he won't. He will stay. Oh, but Yuri's broken really early and out of shape. Luca's now off into the crowd with his only compromise on them both. Wet Lemons now up to P3. So Yuri, well, pretty much assisting his teammate. Yuri needs to stay on the road, though. He's struggling again. Just keep it on track and you'll be alright. So yeah, the two Alpines pretty much just going to work together here to try and stop Luca from getting P4. Mick Schumacher, by the way, he's keeping up with his teammate. Someone who he's been struggling quite a bit. I don't know how much he's played the game, but at the start of the season, really struggling to get up the grips. In P5, really, really impressive. Big shout out to him. And yeah, here we go then. Will the two Alpines fight each other, or are they going to work together? Here we go. Wet Lemons has a run on Yuri. Yuri lets him through, no issue. Mick Schumacher fastest lap of the race. And I think Luca's going to sit behind. He's not going to make any sorts of moves. Oh, he does tap Yuri there a little. But yeah, this fight really goes down to P6 for second placer. So far though, Build has slightly unbunched themselves up. Lewis, he is loving the fact these guys are fighting, because it's just letting him build more and more of a gap. Already, if he was to cut a corner, he's already got a 3-second buffer. He is already, he's like, I'm not saying he's won the race, but he's definitely got a much better chance. Now he's got that 3-second gap. He would have to make a silly mistake to lose it. Well, to lose this win. A penalty is a mistake. Anyways, yeah, the Alpines looking good. Ooh, Wet Lemons, I say that. All out of shape, and this gives Yuri a chance to maybe get back at his teammate. Luca, by the way, I forgot, has that 3-second time penalty. Will drop right down to, I think it'd be P6 or P7. Which is not what he wants. Both Alpines going out of shape through the exact same bit of the circuit here. As here we go. Blue flags are out for someone. I think that might be Matty C. Alistair, fast lap of the race. Yuri gets past his teammate. Luca going to try and follow him. He's tapped the back of Yuri. As who's going to get the better run out of the two Alpines now? I think Yuri will just about. He's got some extreme traction coming out of that corner for turn 2. I wonder if he got any rear wing damage out of it, as I think Lewis might be getting held up from that Williams a little there. But yeah, they stay as it is. This is helping Mick Schumacher and Acorn stay with these guys, and it's not helping Luca one bit. I really, though, hope that both Luca and Yuri didn't get damage out of that, because it'd be unfortunate. Alistair, meanwhile, getting past CJ. CJ going really, really slowly there. He's lost a bunch of time. So maybe keep an eye out for him. He's down in P8. Obviously, the man who had a really good qualifying in Miami. Well, not having the best of races here in Italy. Meanwhile, Wet Lemons right up Yuri's chuff. These guys need to work together. They need to stop fighting each other, because they're going to hold each other up as Lewis starts lap 7. Here we go. Wet Lemons on Yuri again. They're swapping positions, but I don't really see the point in it. It's that dirty air effect where it's just not dirty air, it's quicker. Dirty air seems to be quicker on this game, and unfortunately it is almost compromising the two Alpines in catching Lewis Craig. If they work together, then this position to be gained. Meanwhile, Acorn on the inside of Mick Schumacher. Mick Schumacher defender, he's keeping his nose in. Ooh, just about keeping it clean there. He drops down to P6, but it was a good effort there. He thought about maybe defending it, but thought better of it. Meanwhile, Wet Lemons, he's catching Lewis a little bit here. Gap is now down to 2.7. Let's make sure you don't get a penalty, Lewis, if you want to keep this win. Which I'm hoping I'm hoping he doesn't get a free second, but I'm hoping maybe these guys catch up on circuit and give us a little fight here. I'll tell you who will be a bit upset. Lewis, because I believe Waste is on the barrier. He's gone off in the Parabolica, and that is him. That's 3 DNS on 3. I'm sure he's going to feel like he's wasted his evening a little bit, because Wet Lemon sets the fastest lap of the race. He is catching Lewis. He's getting about 5 tenths this lap. So this race isn't over for their win. Wet Lemons, maybe, I'm not saying he will, has a contention here to fight for the win, as Alistair into turn 1 goes around the outside, which turns into the inside, up to P6. He's now got Deck to come up against. I tell you what, really good comeback drive here from Alistair. He's come from, I think he was like dead last. He's now up to P6 in the wet weather. Good drive here. I tell you what, Wet Lemons, I was going to say he brought that gap even closer, but I think he might have made a little mistake, which, well, yes, it's not going to help. Both Alpines is all, I wonder if he's burnt through his tyres now, trying to push too much. Meanwhile, Luca on the back of Yuri. Gonna try and make the move. No, won't. Alistair up to P5. Can he? As he cuts the corner there, I saw that. Catch up to these guys. Yuri defending Luca like crazy. Tell you what, at this rate, Luca's going to drop down to 5th, maybe 6th, because these Alpines are only slowing him up. Look at the traction now Luca got on Yuri. These guys, they seem to just get traction out of nowhere. They're both burning ERS. Alistair fastest lap of the race. Could he maybe sneak a podium out of this? Luca, is he going to make a move? Oh, he's going to make 2 moves. No way is he going to make the stick down the inside. I don't think he meant to send it on the inside of Wet Lemons, as they're going now 3 wide. Yuri's decided to sneak his nose in a bit. I think he got the better traction. Somehow they keep it out alive without any sort of damage. Yuri's going to try and hang it around the outside here. Surely he's not going to make this stick. Down the inside he goes. He does, he makes it stick. He keeps the position. Luca, who had a brilliant send. I don't think he meant to do it, but he managed to stay away from every car around him. Really impressive move. I'll tell you who this has helped. Alistair, who's now up to 5th. What a mental race this guy's had. As Matt AC has retired in the pits, he was, I think, way over him, like a lap down. So I don't blame him. I don't know what the rules are of retiring in the pits. I think you're allowed to do it. By the way, Wet Lemons has gained. Well, who's that? Is that Luca? No, it's not. It's Mick Schumacher. Who's lost to. Did he lose any places? I don't know. Anyway, Alistair around the outside of Luca. Alistair's brilliant drive. He's fighting Luca now for P4 in this race. Started last place. Here we go. He's got the run. He's burning his ERS. He's also going to have a run on Yuri, who I don't quite think realises who he's defending from. It's not only Luca. Luca, can he get down the inside? No, he won't. He will sit behind, as Acorn also having a little look on the Red Bull driver. These guys are now getting a bit aggressive here. Final 3 laps, you've got to get your elbows out. CJ and Jack Pearson fighting for P8. Really poor night for CJ. Saying that, he got 3rd place in Miami, but apart from that, been nowhere really, hasn't he? Meanwhile, we go back to his battle for 3rd. Wet Lemons is loving this. By the way, 2.4 seconds. I'm not going to jinx it again, but he is catching up to the Mercedes driver. I think he's meant to be in the Williams, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I think he's meant to be in the Williams. Meanwhile, Alistair on the straight gets past Alistair gets past Luca for P4. Could he steal a podium from the Alpines? They will be absolutely gutted if that happens. I'm just gonna very quickly check if I can run to the M's. Lewis Craig is meant to be in the Williams. I don't know if the points go on to what, as both Alistair and Yuri getting all out of shape, which helps Luca maybe have a sort of run on Yuri. Oh, he's got a run on Alistair. Oh my god, where did that come from? What a run that was. It was miles quicker than Alistair. He's now up to 4th again on circuit, but obviously will drop down to, like, I think 7th. He's going to be behind his teammate as it stands. Wet Lemons, by the way, 2.1 seconds behind Lewis Craig. Alistair back past Luca. I think. Is Luca going to send it? He's going to certainly try down the inside. Alistair sticks his nose in. Oh, nearly. I did touch. He didn't go around though. Dex sits behind. And for now, Alistair stays on 5th. Could have cost him maybe a podium place. Yeah, that was very tight. I'm sure heads might be quite hot between the two of them. As now the podium seems to have drifted away from those guys slightly. Wet Lemons was 1.6 seconds. It's now 2 seconds. You've got 2 laps to go in this race. And well, it's been a thrilling race. In fact, all of the races this season, I think, have been brilliant. Apart from Baku was a bit mid. Apart from that, all the races have been brilliant. Here goes Alistair then. He's burning his ERS. He's got a brilliant run on Luca. I'll tell you who else he's got a brilliant run on. Yuri. He's not going to be able to get the move, but he's gained about 5/10 on him on that straight. Alistair might be able to get himself 3rd place. And Yuri, if I'm Yuri, I am pooping myself. To have Alistair, who has been really good. He's won both races. Well, on circuit, he's won both races tonight. And well, now he might be able to get himself 3rd place. He's got the fastest lap, sector 1. I believe that. Wouldn't surprise me one bit with that straight line speed. 2 laps to go. Will Yuri be able to defend Alistair off for P3 in this race? It will be interesting for sure. Yuri has done a brilliant job defending. Dark Shadow, or Kaya, has DNF'd from the race. As Alistair sits back, he knows he doesn't have to do anything now. Just wait for that long straight. Meanwhile, Luca 3-second time penalty again. Not what he wants to see. Wet Lemons 1.1 second behind Lewis Craig. Could he come out of thin air and take this from Lewis? We're going to find out in exactly 1 lap. 1 lap to go in this TGP Italian Grand Prix, TGP2, Wet Lemon's fastest lap of the race. He is just over a second behind him. Meanwhile, Deck is looking like he's got past Luca for P5. Will Alistair be able to make any moves on Yuri? Yuri breaks deep. It's broken really deep into turn 1, into turn 2. Slows down Alistair enough. Will Alistair be able to get any good run on Yuri to get that P3? He's got a bit of wheel spin going from turn 2. It looks like he's going to just not be able to make the move, but he's still got 2 more straights and a lot more braking points to get that move done. Meanwhile, Wet Lemons, it's down to 7/10 of a second between these two. Oh, Wet Lemons drifts there, and that is surely his chance. Oh, it's hit the wall. No, you can't do that on the last lap of a Grand Prix. And meanwhile, Alistair and Yuri side by side, coming out of Lesmo 2. Here they go. Will Alistair be able to make the move for P3? I think he might be able to. He's got a straight line speed. Wet Lemon's 3-second time penalty. It's gone from bad to worse for the Alpine driver and for the Alpine team. It's looking like Alistair might be able to get himself P2 out of nowhere. But here comes Yuri. He's got the run on the Red Bull driver. Who's going to break later? It looks like Alistair's going to be able to hold off. Meanwhile, Lewis Craig, he's going to come across the line. He wins the Italian Grand Prix. Wet Lemons finishes in P2, but Yuri, he got the position on Alistair. Alistair's got a penalty, I think. He must have got a penalty. He's 4th. Wet Lemons finishes P3. Alistair P4. I'm annoyed we missed that, but we had to cut to Lewis for the win. Acorn 5th place. Mick Schumacher P6 in the end. Brilliant drive from him. Luca P7. Jack Pearson 8th. CJ 9th. Daniel 10th. Chris Johnson 11th. Jess 12th. Neil Jack 13th, Red Bull Kim 14th, and Jack Craig, I'm not quite sure what happened. He had front wing damage at the start, will finish P15, but wow, what a race. Alistair 0.028 between Alistair and Wet Lemons. Something must have happened between the two of them for them to have lost nearly 2 seconds to Wet Lemons. Wow, that was a final lap and a half. Lewis Craig wins. That was a brilliant race from him, but that fight for P2, man, that was incredible. We had Yuri, we had Wet Lemons, we had Alistair, we had Luca, all fighting out there for the win tonight. Second place tonight, and I tell you what, that was absolute. That's got to be, I think, race of the season. And that was just for P2. That was gobsmacked with how that finished. That was mega, absolutely mega. So my mouth is dry, and wouldn't be a surprise to you. That was a really amazing race. So Lewis comes out with his Scottish flag. He's not British, he's Scottish. Well, by what the flags say anyway. First Dutchman on the podium since has Yuri got a podium this season? I'm not quite sure. I thought he got it in Silverstone, but I'm not too sure. Anyway, he's on the podium. And then Wet Lemons, I'm sure both Alpine drivers will be really happy with the podium. I'm sure Wet Lemons, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a bit disappointed with third after, well, he looked really quick. He could have won that. Anyway, so your finishing order: Lewis Craig wins from Yuri, from Wet Lemons, from Alistair, who gets fastest lap of the race. Not enough to podium though. Deck will get 5th, Mick Schumacher 6th. Great result from him. Luca, really unfortunate with the penalties, 7th. Jack Pearson 8th. CJ, horrible race in 9th. Daniel 10th. Chris Johnson 11th. Jess 12th. Neil Jack 13th. Red Bull Kim 14th. Jack Craig 15th. Dark Shadow 16th. And Matty C and Wace DNF in the race. So yeah, that was a race. Wow. That was amazing. I wish I had Cam with me for that. That was absolutely brilliant. Oh, I'm out of breath. I need a lay down after that, I think. Oh, feel bad for Crofty. He has to do like 2 hours of commentary. That was only an hour. Oh, actually, it was nearly two. Yeah, thank you all for watching. I'm sure the championship order is looking very different to what it started off. I'd just like to take you back to the championship order from what we started with. Obviously, Lewis Craig made it up. He lost the win in Spain. Had a bad race um, in Miami with the internet issues. Well, he brought it back. He got his redemption in Miami. Not Miami. Italy, Monza. And well, I'm sure he's leading that championship. And I tell you what, I thought he might have been maybe endangered in terms of the standings. But I tell you what, Luca not having the best races. Nord CJ, Chris Johnson was miles behind. Waste didn't finish any races. Those guys. I say that Waste, not Waste. Luca won. He won Miami, didn't he? Where did he finish in? I can't remember where he finished in Spain. He didn't finish ahead of Lewis though. And then Yuri, he had a okay night, good race in Italy, but the other two weren't great. Alistair, by far, driver of the day in terms of, just driver of the day. He's got to be now, I think, at least fourth, maybe even higher than that. Jack Pearson had a good, solid races. Jack Craig had an awful night, and Deck had a good race, I think. Deck had a fair few good races. He was consistently in the top 10. So, yeah, I believe that is it for TGP2 for tonight. We will now go to next week, Belgium, Hungary, and Singapore. That is your next 3 races next week. So Belgium will be an interesting one, especially if it rains like it did tonight. Oh, that'll be a stunner. Hungary's always a brilliant race, and Singapore, it's not my favourite circuit, probably the worst one on the calendar, I'd say. And then we go to the Netherlands, and then the mystery race, and Bahrain. I do wonder what that mystery race will be. I'm excited to know for sure. And then the 4th of December is Australia, Imola, and Brazil. Really good lineup there. And we end the season on the 11th of December with USA and Abu Dhabi. So that is your races tonight. It was Spain, Miami, and Italy. Really good races tonight. I thoroughly enjoyed commentating over that. And yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope to see you next week in Belgium. I hope to see you viewers there. I hope to see you drivers there, and I hope to see everyone and their family there. I will see you all next week. Thank you all for watching. Safe travels, and